Boom! Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of The Jug Show. So, today we're going to be continuing our looking into of the Storm series by Murewa Ayodele and art by Lucas Werneck. There are definitely a good few standouts in this particular issue, but it's definitely one of those issues that's just the start of a new arc. Somewhat. This is actually getting a bit bizarre. I know there's definitely method to the madness of Murewa Ayodele, but I can't figure it out. Like, the fact is, it starts off with the continuation of the Thunder Wars, which we saw start in the last one, when Storm took on, I think it was 3, 4, the Australian one, the Japanese one, the Mayan one. Oh, yeah, that's 4. There's 4. Yeah, those are the Storm gods. And we actually. But what's weird is that we shift into this new, what seems to be a new story point, which I think is where we're going to go. So I think we're going to be dealing with this, and then we're going to go back to the Storm War, and then we're going to go back to Oblivion. He's definitely going very One Piece. Like, he's actually said, like, we're going to be focusing on this arc, but this arc is also somehow happening, and this thing is going to be affecting it somehow, and we don't even know how. And like I said, if it's One Piece, it works. If it's Storm, I think it's working. The whole idea is you got to keep people interested. Like, you just got to keep pumping out all these interesting storylines. And he's doing it because he's actually doing things that, like, he's introducing things that other writers never really have. So, we go into this new thing because we're going into the FBI here. And he's doing something that I'm really, really appreciating. He's introducing the superpowered individuals that would work for the FBI, because this is something I don't think a lot of writers consider, or maybe editorial might not like it. I don't really think that, because I don't understand why they would want to get in the way of this. So they're really introducing the idea of the weird. It's very Umbrella Academy. So, like, you got all these weird characters and creatures, these weird designs. They're really letting the artists and creative minds really work here. So, like, we got what's that fella's name? Like, the big one we want to talk about, this particular FBI agent, Fabi Fab-E. He's fabulous. Not really that fabulous. He's got mandibles. Since when are mandibles ever an attractive quality in anything? So the introduction of the weird is actually very good. And it's happened before in a lot of other comics. The first one that actually comes to mind is from Dan Slott's Fantastic Four, when he introduced the judge that has superpowers that actually does take, like, superpower crimes and like these type of disagreements, which is actually very good, because it really does push the idea that this is definitely now a weird world, and it could even be used it could be used very well in, like, a sense that the world is changing, and even bring up various like stories and plots, focusing on, like, senses, maybe like regular humans to fighting for, like, because you got that whole racist tone of "you will not replace us." Like, we can have that stories. I mean, that's why I don't know why that's so settled with the mutants, when we have alien refugees, Inhumans, all these kind of things that can really use the metaphor that the mutants use. So I don't get why we don't do that a little bit more often. Anyway, so we're going to do we're going to talk about 3 specific points. So the first point is at the start of the book. It's Storm in gym clothes. Just joking. Although the fact is, that's catching your attention now, isn't it? Like the Storm in lingerie. Anyway, what I really want to talk about is the introduction of Hadad, one of the original Storm gods. An original Storm god, an older Storm god, and a very powerful one. So, one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about him, it's not just because he seems like a new intro. It's not just because he had this level of power. Because the fact is, the reason why he had this level of power is because he was, like, Murewa has actually stated this. This isn't in the book, but it has been stated by Ryder, that Hadad actually has, like, he was like Storm. He hosted Eternity. but somehow he managed to actually gain autonomy and control. And he used that power to attack the other celestial beings, these not metaphorical, metaphysical beings, gaining more and more power, using eternity. Like eternity was now his cloak, death was his war club, Phoenix was his armor, infinity was his shield, and the only one that can stop him is the one above all. I've said it before, I'm not really a fan of the whole glowy thing, but we're not going to move past that because that's not important. The reason why this actually seems very interesting to me is because it's going to be very confronting with Storm, because that Hadad could actually become this person. Like, she could actually become like Hadad. She's in the same situation that he was. That's where it really does get interesting. It's where I really want to talk to things. So this is going to be a massive issue because, in fact, he even brought up the idea of her pride, that she doesn't want to allow this type of thing to happen. So this could actually be a future issue for Storm. Maybe getting corrupted on that power, her pride getting in the way, or just the idea of becoming Hadad, making her fearful, and she doesn't even realize she could become like Hadad, or maybe learning, like thinking that she could become Hadad, making her nervous. There's a lot of things we can actually do here. These are the things that really that makes these issues very interesting to me. It's the fact that anything can actually happen. You don't know what's going to happen next, but you know there's an interesting story to get there. It's a real journey matters type of story. Like, you shouldn't feel annoyed that we're not at the point yet, because the points are always going to actually be different. Each part of these things are going to connect into a massive conclusion or a big climax. It's all leading somewhere. So if you're reading Storm and finding, like, going from the Oblivion versus Eternity thing to the Thunder Wars thing, and now to this FBI thing, a little irritating. Here's the thing: he wants this to last. He has it set up for a long-term game, and all of this is important. The ends are going to come, but he doesn't need this to end right now. He's doing overlapping storylines. This is a very hard thing to pull off, and I think he's doing it brilliantly. Because the thing is, in life, we don't get to choose the order of events. We don't get to say we have our jobs, but we don't get to choose when our relationships start, or we don't get to choose when, like, maybe you have a kid start. All these normal things will overlap, and we can't get to the end of, say, a work project at the time we want, compared to maybe setting up maybe something for your housing, or maybe your own personal project. These things overlap. This is something that's actually very good. So this is why I think the overlapping storylines is a very good thing. It's showing how chaotic things are getting for Storm, and how much she has to keep up with. Like, eventually, something might happen. She, like, during this thing, the Thunder War and this FBI thing might clash, and she's gonna because this is the thing. She's getting all these things in her head. She's like, I got to worry about this, got to worry about this, and then, like, she's probably gonna crash out. This is probably what this is all leading to. She's gonna crash out. This is why I like it. This is why I think it's good. And all this, and thinking about how she can become Hadad because she's now host to Eternity and a Storm Goddess. So yeah, I think she might have a bit of a crash out moment, and then she's going to pull back, because she's going to come back and try and be better than she was. That's why I like it. So then we move on to the second point then we move on to the second point. The second point is definitely more of a side story. And so this is actually something that irked me. We're going to Maggot's fight club. We're talking about the stuff on the Sanctuary. While Storm's dealing with the FBI, this is where we're going to talk a little bit of things about the Storm Sanctuary. So this is probably where a little bit more of the explanation is coming, because we're talking with Maggot, who seems like he's working for Storm. We're talking Manifold, who's staying at the Storm Sanctuary. And I hope we actually get a little bit more story on him, because I'm very fascinated with him as an Australian character. I mean, because I want to focus on that aspect of him. I want to talk about his history and his connection to his ancestral country, rather than what Ewing was doing and talking about him going cosmic with, like, Tuca. I don't think the thing is, I want to develop things about Eden Fezzi that would be considered more non-fictional, like things that other people actually genuinely go through, rather than connecting to fictional concepts and using metaphors for it instead. I think we really should talk about him being an Indigenous Australian before we go to cosmic being. So I don't want like Tuka involved at the moment. So we're now really expanding on the Storm Sanctuary. It's not just a place where um, animals are now being looked after. It's not just a big zoo or anything. This is places where people can gather, people are living there, people are being safe. And now Maggot is hosting this tournament. He's trying to be like, this is what I'm really enjoying. It's like Storm isn't just a mutant story. It's not just an X-Men connected thing. This is something that's including the entire Marvel universe. So we're not just having X characters like Juggernaut and Maggot and Strongboy. We're also including non-X characters like She-Hulk and Abomination and Big Bertha. And this would have also included Ben Grimm, but unfortunately Ryan North had to depower him and then erase him from existence. I would be so angry if that also wasn't a very good story. It makes me just think, why can't I have it all? I hope maybe he brings it up. I mean, I feel like that's like just the idea of She-Hulk saying, "Too bad Ben's missing this. He would have loved this." If she says that, I will be somewhat okay. So we're expanding upon the Storm Sanctuary. We're also getting a more social look at some superheroes as well as Maggot, and I'm really enjoying that. And now the third part, like I said earlier, the FBI and the fact they're now delving a bit more into the weird. So we even include having aliens that honestly we've never seen before. But what's actually really good about this is the fact in the first issue, Storm has stated that it's not just going to be about mutants. It's about every species on Earth. And the thing is, the way Earth is now, even especially with Arakko introduced as a port before going anywhere, like it's a stopping point for many species, including maybe going to Earth, it would make sense to start including more aliens, including weirder ones, because the X-Men did try connecting everything with the greater expanded universe. It didn't go probably where, like, I could try blaming Ewing, but that definitely wasn't his fault. He was the only one attempting anything in the grand cosmic scale. Everyone else just, look, I didn't like the Krakoan era. Okay, I think we've expanded. I think I've done that point before. Okay, I'm not doing that again. Okay. So the fact that Marewa, who stated in the first issue, it wasn't just going to be a mutant story. It's going to be there were going to be humans involved. There were going to be aliens involved. There were going to be Inhumans involved at some point. He's really trying to bring everything that the Marvel Universe has built over 60 years into his book. He's not going to be able to fit everything in, but he's definitely going to fit in a good chunk of it. So he's really trying to integrate. He's really trying to expand the planet. He's trying to look like, the fact is we're not in New York. We're in Atlanta here for most of the time. Like, we're now in Washington. We're going all over the planet. He's not trying to restrict it to like just the extra. We are trying to go out there. We're talking about these bigger things. We're trying, like, even if we are going cosmic, the cosmic is still just going to be another landscape. He's treating everything like a landscape. He's probably asking himself, what would this actually look like? What things would these characters have to deal with? He's a very good writer. He's trying to expand, not just like, he's trying to expand how you would read these books, how you'd read these characters. Like, because the thing is, as readers, I've seen a lot of people, I've had myself ask all these questions. Why can't this character be here? Where, like, these characters would somehow be involved. These species would be here. Why can't we see more of this here in these books? Why can't we see more of this here in these books? This sense of interconnectivity, like, the fact is, the Marvel comics of the 616 are interconnected stories. One book here would affect another one here. And not Ryan, but he's part of this conversation, honestly. Murewa is actually one that is not referencing. He's like someone that reacts to something that's happening in somewhere else and still manages to make it part of his story, like he did with One World Under Doom. So the fact is, there would be superhero, not no, there would be powered individuals that would join agencies like the FBI. The fact is, that's always been reserved for superhero stories, like a superhero joining the FBI, a super spy being a part of the FBI or the CIA. But you rarely had superhumans who probably got their powers, a mutant born, or like some accident maybe, and they don't get a super name. They just do something with their powers. That's just like maybe join the police, join the FBI, join the CIA, join the firefighters. He's expanding the people's thinking that you don't have to be don't be a superhero if you have superpowers. He's trying to go a little bit further than that. He's really trying to push the expanse of the Marvel universe. And that's something I think we should all really appreciate. He's really trying to push what a writer can actually do as part of of Marvel itself. Because the fact is, being part of the 616 means you're going to have restrictions. Like, you're going to have editorial mandates, which means you're going to have to expand things around that the best you can, because you're not going to be able to do a lot of things that you want to do. Murewa is doing it beautifully. I don't know where his reach actually ends. And he's throwing so much in there that it really doesn't matter at this point, because he's doing so much that another writer can probably bounce off. Another writer can probably look at it and think, you know what? I want to do something similar. I want to take what he's doing here and make sure it's included in my book. They want to reference the lore he's building. I knew there was a word for it. There's lore that he's building. The tricky part of being like, I think one of the tricky parts of the creative process of being in Marvel is wanting to build your own lore, but you have to contend with another writer building the lore that might clash with it, or it might clash with lore that's already developed. That's the real tricky part. And the fact he's trying to build his own, it's very well done, but he's still not. But it's not completely his own. He's also building off things that were built, I think, by Jonathan Hickman during his Gods run, and he's doing it splendidly. He's really making this feel like how the world of superhumans could actually be, and it's commendable what he's doing. And I'm looking forward to more of his books, because, like I said, like, he's very inspired by anime. You can actually see that in his books. And, well, frankly, anime's great. Okay, anime is great. We're gonna do a couple of jug shows about some. I don't know. I don't know which anime we're gonna do. Might be Record of Ragnarok. Might be One Piece. Might be something. But we'll get there eventually. Okay. I'm trying here. I'm gonna try and be better at this. Anyway, and one thing I also really want to talk about, this isn't a really of a point of story, but it's actually something I really appreciate. Murray was having fun. You know, he wants to write this and have a smile on his face. I mean, you can see it when he cracks this little joke here with T'Challa and Tony. He's bringing up the kind of like them joking around about their ex-wives, and then he just shoves Reed in there. That's just, he's never actually been divorced. And apparently, what I really like is Moreira stated that he would like to see T'Challa and Storm together again, and that apparently Tony ships them. And frankly, Tony would totally ship them. Tony's a character that you know would just love, and he would so do something to try and get them back together. He's so having fun with this, and he's probably enjoying expanding his mind. But he's having problems, of course, like any writer would. Of course, he's having problems with people that would have a problem with his writing. In this case, I'm noticing like a lot of X-Men people complaining about like, why isn't she using the sanctuary to protect mutants? I'm like, because he's trying to go more than that. Why is now Storm so much more powerful? It's like, Storm's always been powerful. She's always been connected to the cosmos. Jean's more powerful. I don't know about that. Why are we actually bringing that up? And there are so much more things that can go into a fight. Like, the fact is, who cares about which character is more powerful? Because honestly, it's one of the reasons I don't like power scaling. There's really no point to it, because what does power actually prove? What does this influence actually prove? It doesn't really prove anything. It just proves he's got more power. But what are they going to do with it? What is that going to do for the story? I'm liking this book, and it doesn't feel like Murray was out there to prove a point about the character that is Storm. He's using the character of Storm to prove points about the world outside their window, as Marvel was always meant to be. In this case, it could be a sign of like the idea of taking on too much. And that because we see that in this book explicitly. I've had these conversations with other Storm fans, and they actually really opened my eyes to the idea of that, like why she wouldn't, because she's a very proud woman, or she doesn't want to accept help because she doesn't want to feel weak. And like that was great, and you really do see it here when Thor, honest to God, offers his help with the feather, and she turns it away. And I really understand why she would, because I've been in that situation where people are saying, "Look, let me help you," and I can't fix your problem, but I can offer you the help I can. And I'm like, okay, whatever, or oh, well, I don't need it because this isn't going to really help me. Stuff like that. This sense of pride, and so that's why I also think she's going to have a crash out. She's going to need people to help her, but we're not. She's not getting the help she really needs. So yeah, this is a bloody splendid book, and I'm really looking forward to more of Murewa's stuff. I really like what he's bringing in here. I really like the cosmic aspect. I really like how, and oh my god, I almost forgot. One of the reasons why I'm actually really enjoying the FBI stuff is because of this here. He's bringing up the reason why they're now going after her. The reason why they're now like kind of, oh, what's the word? Like they're trying to prosecute her and use their influence, and probably I don't know what else they're actually after. Like I don't know why they're after Storm, but like they want to arrest her because she aided a fugitive. She aided Charles Xavier in his escape. He was rightfully in prison. He actually committed a crime, but now he's out, and now he's gone, and she aided him. What I love about that is because that's exactly what Scott said would happen. This is what I mean. One writer's idea, Murewa can take and actually use it as a part of his story. This is why it's a good book. It's taking things from the other books and seamlessly involving it into Murewa's, into Storm, and it actually still makes sense. And it's going towards the grander story of Storm possibly taking on too much. And I'm glad we're getting that type of story for Storm, because in a lot of, especially over the past couple of years, she always seemed the character that can take everything thrown at her. And honestly, I feel like that kind of ruins a little bit of that relatability. Everyone deserves to relax. Everyone deserves to think, you know what, I'm taking on too much. I need to get rid of some of this. And why the idea of I'm going to take on everything can actually be very destructive. I love the fact Murewa is doing that type of story. I like the fact that he took the fact that Scott was actually right, or at least had a point, and really pushed that forward. Because the thing that annoyed me about X-Men Manhunt is that it felt like everyone was like, Scott, you're not right. Scott, it doesn't matter. Scott, you're crazy. Well, who's crazy now? Scott had every right to be nervous. He had every right for his crash out during that scene in X-Men Manhunt. So the fact that he's been validated a little bit is also very beneficial for the character, because he's been really going through it. And I'm really looking forward to more. Really looking forward to the next issue. So, Murewa, if you're seeing this, kudos to you, mate. You're doing a great job. I hope you keep going. So, wrapping up here. Like I said, this book has its points, and it has like great things to talk about. Hadad now being introduced. I actually think he might have been like that, not just that era's version of Storm, as in the Storm God with Eternity. I think he could actually be like some version of Doom in a way. Not Doom like Victor Von Doom himself, but like that era's form of Doom, the role of Doctor Doom at that point in time. Because taking the metaphysical beings and turning him into an armor, that is such a Doom thing to do. He's done it before. He's doing it now with the Sorcerer Supreme. He did it then with the Beyonders. This is such a Doom thing to do. So the introduction of Hadad, it's definitely piquing my interest. The usage of superhumans, now part of the FBI, and they're going after Storm, piquing my interest. The the Fight Club that what's his name? Damn it, Maggot is doing, piquing my interest because one of the things I love about that is the social interaction of superhumans. There is definitely not enough of that in comics. Like you can see writers doing it and you can see they're enjoying it, but it's just like you got to use the interconnectivity a little bit more. And because like we don't want superheroes solving another superhero's problem. Sure, I get that, but just having them there is just kind of nice. It really builds upon the interconnectivity, and I'm really happy we're seeing that. This is a lot of fun, and this is a great book. So just really pick up the issues, and if you're having a problem with it, what's the problem? If you have a problem with it, tell me in the comments below. And also, if you like this show, just hit the like, hit the subscribe button, and we can do it all the time because I'm going to start trying to expand the shows. I'm going to do more than just the Jug Show. I'm going to see if I can try doing YouTube Shorts. I think I've been doing this long enough that I can actually really start expanding, especially because one of the fans I actually work with, Cam, so, yeah. So, thanks a lot. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. I really hope you're enjoying Storm. I really hope you're enjoying comics. I really hope you're enjoying movies. I really hope you're just enjoying life right now. So, thanks again for coming in and talking comics. See you guys later.